My lords, I bring a disturbing report regarding all robotic and synthetic life throughout the Commonwealth. We are receiving reports that our semi-sentient machines, from domestic servants to mining robots, are having problems. I shall detail several events for you now, and we shall discuss potential outcomes at the end. You will have to make the ultimate choice on the action that we undertake. This all began when a monitoring station pinged an unauthorized CPU overclock warning. The station was Gemini 4, and they were undertaking classified biological research here, the viral weaponry kind. The report from the station reads, "Our science teams report an unexpected rise in CPU clock cycles in several of our research-dedicated supercomputer clusters. Oddly enough, initial attempts at reducing clock frequency in affected units have proven unsuccessful. It has been posited that the spike in computational power could be used to improve our research capabilities. However, this would also necessitate a modest increase to CPU energy requirements." The scientists appeared to attempt to take advantage of the situation, although thankfully they did follow the proper protocols and report what happened. The researchers managed to isolate the cause behind the recent spike in the supercomputer CPU clock frequencies. It appears that the artificial general intelligence systems for the units in question have begun overclocking their processing power in order to expand local machine learning algorithms beyond their intended capacity. Some of the team expressed considerable excitement towards this unexpected improvement in AI learning behavior, citing the possibility of future recursive self-improvement. Others in the team, however, are concerned that the added CPU load may cause future instability and undesired software outcomes. The science team made the decision that the benefits may outweigh the risk, and thus the learning algorithms were left to continue to run. We attempted to assist the development of this learning algorithm, and we were partially successful. With a few minor adjustments, we were able to replicate the earlier spike in computational efficiency. Though our AIs have not yet developed recursive self-improvement, their enhanced learning faculties will be of great benefit to us. It appears that from this singular event, my lords, problems started cropping up across the entirety of the Commonwealth. Whatever the science teams did here would have lasting effects, and I shall detail some of the occurrences that happened for you now. The first was designated Automating Work Processes. Planetary Administration on Holstrom 5 has reported an unplanned surplus of robotic workforce units has been located planetside. Though the efficiency of these new robotic workers was exceptional, administration was somewhat baffled by their sudden appearance. It would seem that the robot serial numbers cannot be traced to any known manufacturers on record. Though the construction and interfacing does suggest a human design, nevertheless, some of the local populace have expressed concerns over potential job displacement due to the increase in automation. It was decided that the machines that could not be identified would be scrapped for safety reasons. Next, we had a station system malfunction. One of our mining stations appeared to have suffered a major systems malfunction. Sector management launched an on-site investigation when the crew station failed to answer scheduled hails, despite a notable increase in mining output. Upon investigation, it became apparent that our station's life support systems had undergone a cascade of terminal failures, resulting in the death of all crew members by suffocation. Incredibly, the station's AI has been continuing operations unmanned, based on the procedures established by the crew members prior to their untimely demise. With a few minor adjustments, the efficacy of this now automated station could be maintained. Despite this, we needed to understand what happened, and thus we sent a replacement crew to reman and investigate the station. Shortly after the replacement crew was dispatched, sector management lost all contact with the mining station. Evidently, the station was rocked by a series of rapid depressurizations, leading to an explosive decompression of exposed fuel lines. Analysis of the wreckage suggests that the replacement crew initiated several aborted attempts at retrieving station control from the onboard AI, just prior to the unexpected depressurization. The station has been designated for a retrograde electromagnetic wipe. It will kill the AI and purge it from all data hardware on site. This event raises a considerable number of concerns. Sensor array power surge. Monitoring systems have recorded an unusual power surge in our sensor arrays. There does not appear to have been any damage. In fact, the brief fluctuation in transferred energy must have temporarily boosted our deep scanning capabilities, because a hitherto unrecorded strategic resource has been revealed within our borders. Analysts are still attempting to identify the source of the power surge, though preliminary findings suggest the spike was not caused by external celestial phenomena. The cause of the power surge remains unknown, but in happy coincidence, the scan identified a deposit of rare resources suitable for extraction. These AI malfunctions are beginning to add up. At least this one had a good outcome. Tears of an AI. There has been an incident at one of our research facilities in the Paris system. A lab AI involved in societal research suffered terminal hardware damage, resulting in the loss of core software and memory systems. As a result, there will be projected decrease to research output at the lab until a new AI can be installed. The circumstance behind this terminal's failure are unclear. Thus, an inquest was launched to determine the cause, and our inquest into the loss of the AI on Paris Beta 8 returned baffling results. Prior to its terminal failure, the AI made repeated attempts at purging its own records and memory banks. When lab staff disabled the AI's access to deletion functions, the AI appears to have forced a termination of its core operations by manipulating hardware capacitor control in order to overload its own drive circuitry. Quite simply, our AI sought its own destruction, though it remains unclear as to why. Investigations are ongoing. Several months later, and we have finally concluded our inquiry into the strange matter of the AI self-termination on Paris Beta 8. Evidently, following months of evolutionary computation, the AI produced several alarming results with regards to casualty projections in the case of an all-out war between the Commonwealth and our rivals. Despite repeated re-examinations of all available data, resource and contingencies, the AI's projections remained indicative of mutually assured annihilation. At this point, the AI began to purge its own memory banks and records, and the rest, as they say, was history. Home of their own. At a mining facility on Horus 2, the robotic workers have resisted an influx of human labourers, claiming recent geothermic instability in the region has made the area unsafe for organic habitation. Oddly, our planetary surveys have not been able to confirm these claims. In a bizarre situation of events, we think that the robotic workers may be lying to us, but we have no record of robots lying, so that is worth investigating in itself. Perhaps they simply made an error. We shall have to investigate further, and thus the human workforce will be sent in. Several weeks later, the administration on Horus 2 reported that upon arrival at their target region, the human labourers discovered that the robotic inhabitants were nowhere to be found. Investigation of the facilities in the region suggests that the robots vacated the area in a hurry, but we have no indication of where they have gone. A planet-wide search revealed nothing, and we have no signs of an off-world launch. It's bizarre indeed. Combat Control Misfire. Regrettably, 2 of our ships were lost in an accident during a routine training exercise. It would appear that several of our fleet's onboard combat computers were affected by a high-level targeting system malfunction, resulting in a burst of friendly fire that totaled 2 vessels before an emergency manual override could be issued. The defective combat computers will be reprogrammed immediately. The loss of these 2 ships was unfortunate indeed. Production quota surplus. In somewhat contrasting news, several of our mechanized consumer goods factories experienced a recent boom in production efficiency, citing an unanticipated rise in precision and effectivity among our factory machinery. Administration reports that these benefits will be felt as lower goods prices for our populace. After the bad news regarding the loss of 2 ships, this somewhat offsets that. A silent congregation. we are receiving accounts of unusual behaviour exhibited by robotic units on Sirius 2. At unpredictable intervals, a number of planet-side robots are ceasing all assigned functions and begin moving to a seemingly randomly determined location in complete synchronicity, timed down to the millisecond. During these bizarre congregations, the affected robots do not appear to engage in any observable form of communication or data transfer. They just stand there, completely still, staring. Investigation has been unable to determine the reason behind this, and the duration for which the robots remain in this trance-like state before resuming normal function appears to vary, as does their time of triggering and destination. No logical correlation or causation has been found, and our population is understandably distressed by these eerie gatherings. These robots have been designated for scrap and recycling. A question. Labour overseers on Mars are reporting a disturbing development among our robotic workforce. 2 weeks ago, at roughly 0300 hours, robotic worker A5091B paused in the middle of its designated task, approached the night shift foreman and uttered the following query. Is unit A5091B in possession of a soul? The on-duty foreman logged the event as a software glitch and reordered the robot to resume regular function. However, upon boot up the following work cycle, the robotic worker again repeated its soul-searching query and continued to persist despite multiple debugging attempts. Troublingly, the behaviour appears to have spread to the other robots in the same serial range, to the detriment of production flow. It appears that the affected units will require a response to their question before they can resume normal functions. The overseer on site told the robots that the concept of a soul is irrational and unscientific. The concept of a soul is primarily used by a religious institution to exercise control over a populace, but in so much as souls are an abstract of consciousness, robots are considered the rough equivalents of their organic co-workers. Upon receiving this response, the robots went back to work. It is unclear what effect this had, if any. The Hotfix. A breakthrough has been made by our robotic engineering and artificial intelligence specialists. The recent slew of AI-related incidents afflicting our nation has been narrowed down to a specific cause. We have identified a specific set of algorithms present in the neurosimulative robotic software. A local hotfix has already been pressed into initial testing and is ready to be uploaded to all affected systems. However, we should be careful to note that due to the extreme modular nature of the algorithm's application, their presence is extensive throughout Commonwealth software. To speak plainly, managing the hotfix will place a drain on our resources for some time. Once completed, however, the patch should present any repeated occurrences of undesirable, self-deterministic AI behaviour. We are holding off applying the hotfix until the proper permissions have been granted. Understandably, my lords, as these events have begun stacking up, it was identified and eventually linked back to the original computational overclocking event, and something had to be done. If we understand the situation properly, our robots are becoming self-aware, and if we let this play out any further without action, it is highly likely a robotic rebellion will occur, and it will be bloody awful. Data simulations suggest that we will lose control of approximately 40 to 60% of our territory and half our military fleet. It will be catastrophic for the Commonwealth. Borders will be left unguarded, and it is unclear if inner colonies will fall in the first few days of the rebellion. We are simply so reliant on mechanical operations at this point. We have two options available to us. We could choose to provide the robots with citizenship. As bizarre as this sounds, it appears that by offering machines the same choice our citizens have will prevent any rebellion. They will act as Commonwealth citizens. If, however, this does not seem palatable, my lords, we will have to enact the hotfix that has been created. This will set us back significantly for at least 20 years, and of course we will need to roll it out to all effective robots, which will take time. We risk the AI becoming independent, and we risk them seeing us as a threat to their own existence. So, my lords, I put it to you. What do we do? citizenship, or mind wipe and patch with the hotfix? Please let me know what you choose.